In March was also when we started all these different bailouts, right? So we bailed out the financial markets, we bailed out this, we bailed out that, we provided all these government benefits, got the markets kind of shored up here. And one of the things that we did in particular was decided to bail out ETF markets in particular. We're going to use bonds to, these bond ETFs to bail out different markets. And we appoint as the company to direct all of these purchases was Blackrock. So BlackRock was given all this money through these bailouts to go buy these ETFs to make sure that they go up in value so we can support the credit markets. So, of course, this person who has a lot of money, millions of dollars invested with BlackRock, benefited from that. So, of course, I'm talking about Jerome Powell, who is the chairman of the Federal Reserve, who is the one directing where these monies go, who's the group in charge of this, and has a inside benefit specifically for choosing BlackRock to do this. Now, it would seem to me that just as a standard course, if you're the head of the Federal Reserve, that your investments should not only be closely overseen, but should be probably limited to treasury bills, treasury bonds, etc., right? So that you cannot use your power and influence and ability as the head of the Federal Reserve to personally benefit. I mean, this would seem to be just kind of in line with, say, like insider trading rules. When your society is immediately taken over by low-budget, weak-talent rapper warlords, when you run out of food and have to order Domino's pizza delivered to your southern border daily, and citizens beg for soy-based vegan products to be donated. I'm not making this up. I'm reading.
That's a wonderful paragraph.
Not making this up. And when people are attacked by a mob for unauthorized graffiti, on the wrong turf, mind you, after that mob already tore up the neighborhood, there's certainly room for improvement. And this is where Antifa and Black Lives Matters movements are starting to build walls around the Republic of CHAZ. So, I mean, this is everything that could go wrong is going wrong. But this is just, kind of the moment where we are in society. And this is the divide that we've been talking about, right? So I'm kind of joking a little bit about the Republic of CHAZ, but what this really shows you is that, on one end of the spectrum, you've got this very warped reality that's occurring in the financial markets, right? You've got young individuals, sitting at home, trading on Robinhood, buying stocks. And if you look at the stock market, everything seems to be just fine. If you had been asleep for 20 years and woke up today and looked at the markets, you go, everything's fine. Economy must be good. Earnings must be good. Everything must be kind of clicking on all cylinders. Everything's fine. If you extract the stock market from the overall picture and look at the rest of the economy, things like what's happening in Seattle, as an example, is evidence of what's actually happening within the economy. It's interesting right now that we're seeing, rises in cases in Florida, COVID-19 cases, hospitalization rates in Florida and, Arizona, Texas, starting to surge here. But there's this inherent belief that there is no second wave of the virus coming, which is interesting. And this is part and parcel of what's happening with the markets as well. Markets are convinced that we're going to have this V-shaped economic recovery. Everything is going to come back. And so we're seeing some initial bounces, right? We did open the economy back up. We're seeing some initial bounces of economic activity, which you would expect. As people, have been locked up for 45 days. Now they're getting to come out and go get a haircut and go to the store and buy some stuff, go treat themselves to a restaurant visit. The question is going to be sustainability and duration, right? Well, how long will they continue to do that? When you keep talking about 30, 40 million people unemployed, it's going to be harder to sustain that bounce longer term. But part of the psychology is interesting because you're seeing people go back out into public, right? They're not wearing masks. They're not social distancing. We're rioting in certain cities, and the MAGA rally's coming up in Tulsa. So, President Trump is about to have a big rally, right? And they're actually going to about to open up overflow for the rally. Because, when President Trump gives a rally, thousands of people show up. Nobody's going to be wearing masks. So, there's this inherent denial of the risk of a secondary outbreak of the virus, which is one of the bigger threats to the economic recovery story and all this. We still don't have a vaccine. We don't have therapeutics. We don't have those things. And look, I'm not saying that you should all go lock yourselves in your house. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is there's an interesting disassociation between what was the major concern in March, which was everybody getting sick, everybody was willing to lock themselves up in their houses and do these things. And now, 2 months later, they're like, what virus?
The Fed is clearly intent on telling us what interest rates should be across not just the Treasury curve, across the mortgage curve, the corporate curve. So when I say curve, I say, what should a 10-year Treasury that's double A rated yield? What should a 30-year mortgage yield? What should a 5-year Treasury yield? Because if you want to manage the economy, the best way to do it is with interest rates, especially in our economy, which is driven by debt. And that's also true for most other countries. So we're an economy driven by debt. What's the best way to manage it? Change the price of debt, right? It's like anything else. How do you manage the sale of apples or wheat or cars? You manage the price. If Honda wanted to sell a bunch of cars, it would be $5,000 cars on the market right now. And if they didn't want to sell any, they'd cost $200,000. That's exactly what the Fed's doing. They are taking more and more control of the economy and determining that they know what's best and not the millions and hundreds of millions of people that should be determining interest rates.
The Republic of CHAZ is this semi-autonomous region in Seattle.
Downtown Seattle.
Downtown Seattle that's currently ruled by a rapper. I'm not making any of this up. No, you can look it up for yourself. Just type in Republic of CHAZ. There's even Amy Horowitz, right? Uh-huh. She reported live from the Republic of CHAZ. I can't make this up, right? This is awesome.
This is going to be a bad movie next year.
You know what, though? There's like nobody in our office building.
Right.
I'm just calling this the Republic of Lance from now on.
I like it.
It's the Seattle.
Yeah.
We're going to bring it right here to the center of Houston.
Does that mean we're going to get aid?
No. I can't even get in the building in the morning without a fight with the security guards.